Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so good evening. I'm not used to doing it. Usually I do it early in the morning. So trying to test something out, go a little bit later. So welcome everyone. We got Matt from Mojo Mindset and
What
we
is
got
going
REI with
on?
Kim here today.
Hello,
So
hello.
her first time. She's a little under the weather, so but thanks for her for joining us. But Kim, why don't you fill everyone in on kind of your backstory a little bit?
Yeah, gladly. So I got started in real estate investing. The intention was to buy a house that I'd live in, house hack by having a roommate, and then ended up moving out sooner than expected. So ended up renting out the whole place in Bend, Oregon. So I have a single family home, and then was also able to connect with Millennial Mike. And the team that he put together for a kind of partnership investment in Gary, Indiana. So that's a fiveplex, and it's still a little bit of a work in progress. I can kind of provide some more updates as we get going, but it's going well. It's exciting to kind of be on a team and see. I mean, I don't think I would have jumped into a fiveplex otherwise, at least this early in my investing journey. So I've been learning a ton, of course, as we always do. So that's my little bit of story of my investing.
Cool. Yeah, so that's kind of why our main topic will kind of be focusing on like building a team and working with others. So you can kind of lead us on that. Hopefully Kevin from Self Storage can join us. I know he might be on duty tonight, so I'm not sure he's gonna be able to make it. But do you think it Matt, do you think it started on Instagram or did it work, you think? Or
I don't know, but we could just keep this thing going and we can always figure it out another time.
cool. And I
Yeah, yeah.
posted Kim's Instagram page in the
Do that.
note.
Thank you.
And shoot, did I forget to put Matt's one? Matt, if you have your, I thought I had it in my notes here. Shucks.
It's always in the show notes, nothing
Yeah,
crazy.
cool. Yeah. So what have you been up to, Matt? I haven't seen you recently.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Oh, you went with Ned,
as
right? You met up with Ned?
yeah, we did a 20 unit. So Ned is another kind of I say an ORAC guy because he is in the lumberjack landlord kind of community. So he has a 20plex in the West Bank of New Orleans. So what we did is we decided, hey, let's collab, let's do a content day, and we did a walkthrough of the property. He has 17 units that are unrenovated, so he's trying to renovate those extra 17 units of the 20. So we did kind of a before and after walkthrough. Hey, this is what your renovation is going to look like. This is the cost associated with each renovation, and so on and so forth. So that was kind of a cool little walkthrough of a kind of a small multifamily, a lot bigger scale than what I've been accustomed to. So that was a good, valuable experience. And yeah, like I was telling Mark, the live, if I would have just pressed live and I could have just hit submit, my I wouldn't have to worry. But now I'm like editing, and it's like you balance a lot of other content and stuff with the full time job, so it can kind of get hectic from time to time. But we'll eventually post it and share it and get some feedback on it.
Well, Kim used to only post with her dog. So now she
Yeah,
has,
that's
yeah,
it.
so she got called out at the ORAD event by Millennial Mike on, about putting yourself
I'll
out there
never
for
live
social
that
media.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. So if for those of you in the comments, I met Kim at the One Rental Time event, we told her she can't be drinking on this live tonight,
Oh
since
yeah, but you
yeah,
can
she's
I'll have
safely
a
get
been
home.
reputation now. What do you
Yeah,
think this is?
yeah.
Water? Told
yeah,
you.
got him.
Well, so tell us, so what's been the biggest struggle or what advice maybe could you, if you were to build a team again or go on a partnership again, is there anything you would do differently right now?
Yeah, well, kind of starting, I'll give a little bit more detail because I just teased the subject, just reel people in with that. So yeah, a little bit more detail. So like I said, Millennial Mike was really actually the key person who kind of brought together people. He's shared pieces of that story along the way. So I had been talking to Mike over the past 2 years and having those moments of like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, it's okay, keep pushing forward. And I'm like, okay, and got the house in Bend and all of that and had saved up some more money. I had a duplex that I was hoping to purchase here in California fall through, or I should say, I backed out of that deal. It wasn't wasn't the right thing. So at that same time, Mike was putting this team together. So he chose people that he had been connecting with over the years, talking to over the years. Some of them had investments of their own. Some of them was kind of looking for that opportunity to get started. So I don't want to take credit for choosing the team, because he really was able to kind of vet the people, know how serious we all were about moving forward in this journey. And then it's just been amazing. So I think, as far as advice, it's like, talk to good people, like talk to as many people as possible. Of course, right? We hear that all the time. Your network is your net worth. I never went into that conversation or any conversation with Mike being like, so like, count me in on the next one. But when it came up, it made sense. Like, we were constantly talking about where I was at or where he was at, what deals he was working on. Same thing for me. So I feel like I'm regurgitating information from other people, but it's like, talk about where you're at with everybody, that it makes sense to. Or actually, you know what? I was going to say that it makes sense to, but even that it quote unquote doesn't make sense to. Like, talk about where you're at, share what you're passionate about, what you're excited about. Even people that I'm working with, obviously, with I'm aware of the proper places to discuss it, but I love talking with people. And then I'm shocked by the number of people who actually are interested in getting started in investing. So yeah, I think just having a good community, and getting in the right circles is actually invaluable, absolutely invaluable. So I think that's the starting point. And then from there, it is, again, nothing revolutionary, but it's communication, right? It is I forget, it happened in January and it's what, now June. So I don't remember the exact moment by moment timeline, but essentially within like a couple of days, like all 6 of us were at the bank, wiring money, getting this stuff together. Like, we were within just, I think even within like 24 hours, pieces of this were being pulled together. So we were constantly in communication, talking about, we also did form an LLC. One of the people in the team had that background and was able to kind of pull that operating agreement together. So yeah, I think constantly talking with like what you're comfortable with, hey, like any questions, constantly asking those questions as well to the team has been really, really valuable. Yeah, I think
So,
that's the starting
so
point.
there's what, five of you, or 5 or 4?
6, including
Or
Mike.
6. So I'm assuming Mike probably takes the lead on a lot of things, or is he kind of
Yeah.
like delegated it to you folks to handle certain things?
Yeah, so he does take the lead. So 5 of us brought the cash to the table. He, of course, brought the deal to the table because he knew about that. And then he's the one who really coordinated with the construction and the renovation that was needed, as well as he already had the relationships built in Gary, Indiana. So he was able to be, talking to the property manager and making sure that she was checking in also on the construction that was being done, the renovations that were being done, because all of us are investing from afar, so, and out of state investors. So having, like, being able to just kind of tag team with him and having those relationships, but also I would add building those relationships from there myself as well. I've gotten in touch with his real estate agent and like built some of that relationship, and the property manager, and just even the mortgage broker, the lender, if like when we go to refinance, and we're all a part of that discussion. But absolutely, Mike takes the lead on it, and that's kind of his chunk, his responsibility in that. And it's I'm still learning for sure. I'm like, we of the 5, let me get this right. Of the 5, we've renovated 3, and actually, I'm going to say renovated 2 units, and a third one we built out completely. It was like a basement unit. So that was a full construction. And then the other 2, I think we're doing a couple of renovations now, and then one that we had a tenant that has carried over. So we'll leave that until they leave or don't. We'll see. And then we'll work on the cash out refinance later. So I can't speak to that part of the journey because we're not there yet. So, but yeah, it's been a learning process. It's taken a little bit longer than I initially expected. Not even we knew it was going to take time, but a lot of units have hit the market in Gary. So just kind of working through, taking the time to find the right tenant. Like we don't want to just rush into that. I've done that in the past. So I've
Yeah.
learned my lesson. Don't rush placing tenants, please, please. So yeah, we're kind of methodically going through that process right now.
So what about you, Matt? I mean, now that you saw what Ned's working on and some of the bigger things he has, do you see partnerships or, building a bigger team, something in your future?
Yeah, no, it's a interesting kind of topic, and I know Kim's stories talks about. It reminds me of this like phrase, like "rock stars, no rock stars" kind of deal. So it's like guy like Millennial Mike, he's crushing it, doing deals. His agent that he like trusts and works with, the handyman, the construction workers, like the team that he's built out. It's like those people are like hungry. They're after it. And they're like go getters. And so that kind of just jogged my memory. I didn't want to miss that point. And so to kind of answer your question, Mark, I think there's definitely room for opportunity in the future. I think right now it kind of goes back to, because this will be a whole new asset class that if we were to get involved in, because it's been like 1 to 4 residential units. And so when it comes to maybe like a partnership, for right now, I think it goes back to just getting educated on like said asset class, whether it is commercial multifamily, the 5 to 20 unit, et cetera. I think it goes back to first connecting with those rock stars that are doing those deals and asking questions, being open to like learning from them before you maybe kind of get involved in like a partnership deal. First of all, like I don't know about you, Kim, but like the day you met him, like, were you guys like already starting committing deals? Like, it kind of probably took a little bit to build that rapport and that trust. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you mentioned that like kind of timeline to all that, but if you wanted to kind of take that away in terms of like what that timeline looked like, getting the partners, and it sounds like everybody's from a different state as well. So I'm sure there was a lot of like you said, communication on like, hey, everybody's on the same page with this deal. Let's
Mhm.
kind of move forward.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
before you answer that, Kim. So Troy Roberts is here. He says,
I
"Hey
see
Kim."
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
said.
that's
So Kim, I guess you must have went to this Northwestern Action Summit because I guess that's where or Curtis also said he met you there. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
So
up there. Gosh, when was that? Was that end of May, beginning of May? It was beginning of May. And Zuber spoke, Mike spoke,
Dion
Dion
too.
spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So it was a great event. Every time I'm like, yeah, like we'll see. I'll learn a few things, and then my mind is just blown away. Like every
that's
single
good.
time. It's like every time. I mean, even the one rental at a time event, I was like, yeah. I mean, I listen to the channel all the time. What else could I possibly learn? I mean, not literally. I don't really think that, but like you go into it like, oh, this will be nice, and then I walk away just truly just blown away by the people I meet. And I remember that, Troy. Like it was just lovely to meet the people, and that it's so inspiring. In fact, the other day I was just thinking, like, I need to go to another event. Like I'm feeling like I am getting that like itch of like, okay, not just for the event, but for the people to be around and in the room and with those people and meeting people and being inspired by their stories. And like anytime you walk into a room like that, you just get to like swap. You're already starting from like, it's not like, oh, hi, let me tell you, what's your name, etc. Like, yeah, sure, there's that. But you just dive right into like this slightly deeper level than, I don't know, any other room that I feel like I've walked into, which has been, yeah. So I remember you, Troy. That was, yeah, it's,
Are you going to
and
be at the Hiders event in Gary? Is it September? I believe he's having one, or he's putting together an
yeah,
event, right?
yeah, it's in September. I haven't seen the exact dates. I hope to. There's a lot going on. I'm going to Alaska for 2.5 weeks shortly, and then
Oh,
backpacking trips
Oh,
and
sick.
all
That'd
the
be a
things.
lot of
So
fun.
it'll be
is he
fun. But
is
yeah,
he going to be there when you're there?
he is. We're gonna see if we can meet up. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Alaska's a
sweet.
very large state. So I was like,
Yeah,
swing
yeah.
by. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, swing by. You need like a jet, like a
Mhm.
seaplane,
Right,
and then like a
seaplane and then a
boat.
boat and then yeah, and then train maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
a little different
Yeah,
out there.
it's a little
But
different.
in the summertime, I heard it's beautiful.
And then we got
Yeah.
Trade Better 99. He has a question. I think it's for you,
I did
Kim.
see that.
Yeah.
So any strange Indiana rules you have come across in 5 units and up? Example, Ohio for units and up owners pay for water and trash. I will say Indiana is a very landlord friendly state. Because we do have a property manager, I don't know exactly, I'll be honest. I don't, I'm not 100% sure, but nothing that comes to mind immediately. I do know, both from, and we haven't really had to go through this thankfully, but the eviction process, from what Mike shares and other people who invest there, is pretty easy. It's pretty, like, go through the steps, make sure you're crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and taking care of that appropriately. But then if you do that, then it's a very, like I said, very landlord friendly state. So nothing that comes to mind. Sorry, I don't have a more specific answer for that.
And since we kind of brought up Hyder, he is a part of the partnership you guys have too, right? And he's a little bit different in the sense that he's bringing some other things to the table, right? Like
Yeah.
sweat equity and whatnot.
Yes.
So how did you guys put all of that into place as far as building a team?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So essentially what we did is, of course, we had the cash amounts that each of us brought to the table. And it was understood that there would be a certain percentage to Mike for, again, as I mentioned, bringing the deal to the table, managing the contractors, managing the property manager, etc. Hyder, he is very skilled and he's like, I have a little bit more time on my hands during this exact period of time, to actually drive out to Gary from San Diego, California. And he, like, spent a few days on the road. He took his work truck and he spent just, I want to say I think he was even 5 weeks. Just those 2 units that I initially mentioned that were renovated, and now we did the full build out of the third, and now we're renovating a fourth. But those two initially, he completely, he redid the subfloor, the flooring, and painted the walls. He did so much work. So when we were kind of putting together the numbers, we all were in agreement around, okay, based off of the cash he put in, and then also what was expected of as you mentioned, sweat equity, if I can talk, we then came to a number. And then from there, based off of the number the cash that we put in, is how we broke out the percentages of ownership, and eventually how that will be divided when it starts to cash flow. So working out the numbers, checking the math, double checking the math is always, it's always good. And this is where trust people but validate. I think there's a better saying than that, but that saying, and I think we all did that so respectfully and so well, of like, yeah, like when Mike put the numbers together, he's like, but like, double check my work. And we all did, and we're like, yep, you did great. Police officer can do math occasionally. I'm going for everybody right now. But yeah, so that part was good. Again, just and I didn't know Hyder, I didn't know Lisa, I didn't know Senya before, or Wayne, before we jumped into this partnership. But I knew Mike, and I did trust Mike, and I asked questions even then before I got to know, and then I met all of them, and now we're all like buddies. So it's great. But I still went into it with like a little bit of caution. You always have to just be cautious, ask the right questions. I'm not saying that you should, like, just if anybody asks you to join a partnership, to jump in on that. Like, that's not, but I really trust Zuber. I of course followed his channel for a long time, listened to Mike for a long time, and built that relationship through the years. So you specifically asked me also about the timing. Can you restate your question? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm a little
no,
quiet.
no,
I'm not feeling like 100%.
Yeah, no, you definitely kind of hit it in terms of everybody might not have known each other, but there was like kind of a little bit of time to like build that rapport, build that trust, to structure the deal. So I was just kind of maybe like expanding upon, hey, like obviously, so you were close with Mike, and then
Right.
he kind of knew these other people, and like, and then obviously together, like-minded investors, we are all in this for the same goal, and you get that kind of good feeling about people, and it's like, all right, like, I think we can kind of do this deal together. So that's kind of what it sounds like from my perspective.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it was something that we had to kind of decide quickly. We all jumped on a Zoom meeting. I remember the first Zoom meeting, I was like 10 minutes late because I forgot about it. And I was like, this is so bad. They're going to think I'm unreliable. I was so embarrassed. I don't even think I've told anybody about that. If they listen, they're going to be like, this girl.
Oh gosh.
I just remember I was like horrified. But we'd all jumped on a Zoom meeting. We talked about what the deal would look like, and there were still some things with the wholesaler that, which is where this deal had come from to Mike, that were being worked out. So again, like I've heard somebody talk about how like the follow through is just so key in this business. And I mean, it's not a surprise, but Mike followed through consistently of sharing every detail with us, which was extremely
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
There is the superstar I've been waiting for. There
20
is
minutes late.
I'm
Kevin.
sitting here.
Yeah, I
just
know. He
waiting.
made his
Yeah, we're
entrance. There is the
chopping it up.
storage guy. So Kevin, we got Matt from Mojo Mindset. He's on X, and we got Kim Bishop. She's mainly on Instagram. REI with Kim. She's investing in Gary, Indiana. She's in the Bay Area. She's close by you, probably.
Nice. Yeah, we're up in Sacramento area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So close but far when it comes
That's
to
right.
Bay Area traffic.
That's right.
Oh, but you're stationed in the Bay Area then, right? Or no?
Yeah, fire department's in the Bay Area. Yep. So I commute down once a week.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do you have to stay like multiple days just to make
Yeah,
so it
we
makes
have
sense?
Yeah, we have a weird schedule. So I work 2 days. So I live at the fire station for 2 days.
Right on.
And then I come home and I'm home for 4.
There you go. Makes that commute like suck a little bit less. So that's not
That's
bad.
true. Yeah, it's five times a month is what it works out to be.
There you go.
And he still doesn't want to believe me in retiring early. Still wants to keep doing it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
How you been, man?
I've been good. We just we got back from a trip to San Diego.
That's right.
We took the kids to the beach, and the nice thing about the schedule is that if you take the 2 work days off, you get the 4 days on either side of it. So you take 2 days off, you actually have 10 days off. So we spent 9 days in San Diego, and it was good. It was a blast. But now we're back to the grind.
Yeah. So we kind of been talking about building a team, a real estate team. So like I mentioned, Kim's in Gary, Indiana, with a kind of like a partnership deal going on. But you've kind of been in real estate probably the longest out of all of us, and you've kind of pivoted from single family homes, small multis, and now really focusing on self-storage. So how's that been, or putting together a team? And you're doing most of it from a distance also, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, when I first started in single family homes back in 08, 09, I was the team. It was just me and a buddy. We just figured it out together at a time where it was very easy to buy real estate. And then as we grew, we started bringing on, people to do the jobs that we didn't want to do. Right. We started off fixing up the houses ourselves. And then eventually we're like, okay, we don't need to do this stuff. We can bring people on who are skilled in the trades to do it for us, and do it better than we could do it. And when you're local, it's a little easier. Now that I'm in self-storage and everything is, 2 to 3,000 miles away, you have to have a good team. And I didn't know what I didn't know when I got into self-storage. So it's super important. So we have, my goal is to just, anything I'm not good at or anything I don't want to do, find the person that's the expert in that and bring them on. So we have a call center that answers all of our calls. I don't want to be tied to a phone. I can't be with my job and with my kids. And so we have a call center that does that for us. We use a management software so that I don't have to worry about booking reservations. The call center could use the management software and book reservations, move people in and out of units, accept payments. We have a boots on the ground at each facility. So they help us out if we have any issues at the facility. They're the ones that handle it. They're just a 1099 contractor for us. So they're kind of our eyes and ears at the facility. And then obviously we hire out any CapEx. I'm not doing the construction work myself anymore. So we hire that out. And so we just try and find people that are really good at their certain niche and bring them on to work with us.
What do you think would be like, the biggest maybe things to look for in building a team? Would it be like communication skills, leadership? Like, what kind of traits are you looking
I
for?
think trust is the number one, especially if you're a long distance away. Like if you're local and you can build out a team, like you can bend a little bit on how trustworthy someone is, because you can check up on them and you can find that out through trial and error. You can get burned pretty bad if you're working with someone who isn't trustworthy and they're 3,000 miles away and you're not able to check up on them. So I think having trust, which then comes down to relationships, and it's about connecting with people, getting put in the right situation with the right people, asking people who they're using, who are they talking to, all that kind of stuff. So I think trust is number one, and it's difficult. But there's trustworthy, honest people out there. You just got to find them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you find that like when you check in, on the teams that are there locally, or like how frequent is that check in? Is it like just kind of like, hey, status update, hey, this is how things are? Like, is that something that I would feel like is more manageable, like being pretty long distance? Do you find like you're implementing systems like that?
Yeah. So for our call center, we do monthly check-ins. So we look and we listen. They send me a clip of the call so I can listen to recorded calls. We talk about what went right, what went wrong. We're really pushing sales right now. So how can we close customers when we get them on the phone? I don't want them to get off the phone without renting a unit, right? That's the goal.
Give them a call to action.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a monthly thing. And we can scale it up or back as needed. With our boots on the ground, it's weekly. So they are expected to go to the facility once a week on their own time and complete different tasks that we assign them. Cleaning out vacant units, doing a lock audit to make sure there's locks on the units that should have locks on it. Maybe someone moved out and didn't tell us. Hey, clean up the grounds, there's trash, stuff like that. So that's a weekly, because it's more operationally heavy. And we can't fall behind there because we can lose tenants pretty quickly if our facility starts not looking nice.
Sure.
And then our marketing team is also once a month. So we have a marketing team that does all of our Google pay-per-click ads. And we look over reports and we see what's working, what's not. We go over our budget, and that's once a month. So there's definitely frequent contact. I think the goal is to start off with more contact than necessary and then scale it back. And then you'll know, oh, shoot, we scaled it back too far. We went too long without talking to somebody. This happened or that happened. That's not good. Then you start bringing it back. So it's just a dance. But I always start off with more contact than not.
And all your deals
out, actually, start with a lot, start with constant check-ins. I feel like initially our WhatsApp group chat was like 70 times a day checking in, talking about things. And then we found that balance, like you said, which I it's a good point.
Yeah.
That's because Mike likes to talk. That's why, and everything.
I'm not. No.
But Kevin, so all your deals, are you kind of with the same partners as far as your investments, or you're investing in different self-storages with different groups of people?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So we have two different call centers, and that's just because we're trying to figure out who we want to commit to. But we do eventually want to end up with one, but we're just kind of judging pros and cons right now. We're in a trial phase. So we have two different call centers. We use the same management software for all of our facilities. We have different boots on the ground because they're in different locations. So we need that. If they were somewhat local to each other, we could get away with having one boots on the ground manage multiple facilities, but they're in different states, so that doesn't work. So yeah, it depends. Some people we use throughout, like we have a painter. He paints all our facilities, right? We found him. He's good. He travels. He brings his crew. They paint the facility. So just depends on the niche and what it is, really.
Well, since you did pop in late, you kind of ruined the flow of things. No, thanks
Sorry,
for coming.
guys.
I know you're busy, but we kind of skipped over some questions. So Troy did have a question for Kim. He asked, have you guys considered pivoting to do a flip to generate some capital for another buy and hold purchase?
Yeah, I mean, I think this deal is so good. So we don't want to flip this one. I mean, we want to do the cash out refinance and then kind of regroup as a team to determine what those next steps look like. Are we good with the one and we want to each take our capital out and go do our own, continue our own investment journeys? Are we interested? Is there the next thing on the docket and we'll do this again? So we're not quite at that stage. I don't think we're interested in doing a flip on this one, because it really is once we get tenants in place and everything, it was such a good deal. It made sense. So I think we'd be open to it at some point, but not this one. And then I did see another one around calculating sweat equity as well. Yeah. That one was interesting. So essentially, and just to quickly recap, if anybody joined, is there's 6 of us in the deal, and one of them brought half cash, half sweat equity, as we called it. And so for that portion, essentially, we, having talked to him and kind of what he agreed to be able to do within the unit, we did get a quote on what that work would have been, and essentially it equated to what that cash amount is. So that's high level how we calculated it. And honestly, I will say, Hyder, if you listen to this, he did way more than he bargained for. Honestly, he did so much work on the units. So very, very appreciative.
Yeah, and you guys are getting free publicity for him, recording it
I
all and putting it
know,
on
yeah.
YouTube. So, you guys are getting free hype for
Get
what
those
you guys are
free
doing.
walkthroughs.
Yeah, all night, exactly. Both for ourselves, like we were watching as the investors. We were like, "Tell us more," and then
Yeah.
also, of course, all nighter Hyder. If you don't follow him,
Yeah.
he has some great updates across the board. So
Real
So
quick, yes, I was about to
no,
say
go
the
ahead.
because you said like the deal was so good, was that would you contribute that to kind of like the lead source and the buy and that wholesaler relationship that Mike has built in that area? Like
yeah,
you contribute that to? Okay, for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So I know, and I think Mike has shared part of this story, but I only know a piece of it, but I know that there had been some other partners that were interested in going in on this with him, from the wholesaler. Again, from the wholesaler, and then I think it was 3 people that were going to do it. And then for whatever reason, I don't know the dynamics. It didn't work out with those other investors, and that's when, again, I think so much of this is, as we mentioned, the relationships built, but just the opportunistic aspect of it. Like, you have to, when it's ready and when the time is right, you just have to be ready to step forward. Not thinking too much about it. I was listening to another podcast where they were talking about some of these deals that come on the market, and you have 30 minutes to make your decision and step forward and actually take a hold of it. This is, I think, something in Fresno. So yeah, you have to, when the timing is right, you have to be ready to commit to that again. And this comes back to knowing what you're looking for, knowing your buy box, so having those relationships built, all of that was key.
Did it worry you at all that Mike's a police officer and he's not the brightest tool in the toolbox?
That's
No.
why there's 6 of us on the team. Balance him out. No, he's done great.
Strong arm the sellers
Kevin.
off
Millennial
hours.
Mike's a police officer, so we go back
I
and
give him a
forth on.
hard time.
Yeah. What I was gonna say. Oh, so Chester's here, Wealth Building Journey.
Thanks, Chester.
So actually, yeah, tonight is Frank's Wednesday Zoom call. So I was actually on this before I jumped over here. So they're saying if you guys want to hop on in. Kind of they go for hours talking more real estate and other
Right on.
stuff, and and I didn't even check. Matt, what shirt are you wearing? I don't know. Are you wearing?
This is I gotta represent the Sun Peak merch from Sierra.
Yeah.
It's
So Sierra.
custom fit, doubles as a workout shirt, and obviously a live shirt. So we're rocking it. So yeah,
There's Ned
supporting some local business.
Yep, Ned Talks is here, so he's in the same area as Matt. They've been doing some walkthroughs and going to be putting out some videos and stuff of Ned's. What 20 unit you said? 20?
Yeah, so it was a 20 unit, and we're basically documenting the kind of before and after, right? So 17 of the 20 need to be renovated. So kind of like, hey, what are you looking to renovate, and how much you're trying to get for rent, and kind of running the numbers, a little background analysis on that. So it should be some good stuff.
So what are you working on now, Kevin? Is any self-storage? So you're primarily what, North Carolina, Kentucky, or what, those areas?
Yeah, it just so happens we've found facilities in the southeast that have made sense and met kind of our criteria. We're not location specific. We're open. We try and stay about 60 miles out of any coastline just for insurance purposes. But other than that, we're open. But yeah, we're in the southeast primarily, and we took on 2 facilities about mid late April. So we're bringing those ones up to speed, and they're both going well. One of them was a new climate control facility that was just like 20% rented when we bought it in April. We've gone pretty heavy on Google ads and advertising in multiple different channels. So actually I looked today, we're at 51%, which was completely beat what we were hoping for. So that's been good. And then the one in Kentucky is just a small 12,000 square foot drive up storage on gravel. It's getting a new roof currently. And we're kind of just working through like an operational overhaul there. That was very mom and pop. Everyone paid checks or cash, incorrect contact information for everybody. So it's just been, that one's been a lot of work, but I think once we get it going, we'll be all right. So
you did kind of touch on it.
Yeah.
Ned's in the insurance side too, but so how does the insurance work for self-storage? Is it difficult to get, or?
It's not necessarily difficult to get. It's just kind of just like, because we still do single family and multifamily too. It's just getting more expensive.
Sure.
So it's just kind of following the same trend,
especially in the southeast as well. Like you said,
wind and hail is a lot. So it just depends. We typically try and buy without the assistance of a bank, so we're not beholden to the bank's criteria on what type of insurance we need to have, so we can kind of level it down a little bit if we're okay with that risk. So that helps. But yeah, insurance is tough everywhere right now. The reinsurance companies keep charging the insurance companies more, and the insurance companies are just passing that on to us. So it's an interesting game if you look into it.
And Kim, if you haven't heard, but Chester is under contract in a property in Detroit.
I did not know this. Congratulations, Chester.
Yeah, so
I can't wait to hear
finally
more.
get it. Yeah, so he is under contract. So
is it a single family, multifamily?
Single family. But if you've met Chester, super smart guy. I mean, yeah, but notebooks, spreadsheets.
Big brain guy.
Yeah.
So
nice,
the questions he'd ask, it would leave me spinning.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right. I'm like trying to track. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got it. Like I mean, he's just
slow it down. I'm trying to play catch up. Right on.
So that's
But
so
yeah,
exciting.
he's under contract, so
Nice.
we're pulling for him. So.
And you're gonna have him on here when he closes, right?
Yeah, of course, man. Oh, there's Ned. Yeah. Thank you guys too. I did hit 500 subscribers. I have to catch up to Mojo Mindset, who only talks about Tesla. That's why. So he's cheating. He's beating the algorithm by talking about Tesla.
All right, it's team effort, everybody. That's all.
Oh, wealth splitting journey. He's blushing. See.
That's super exciting.
I got so I know we've been talking a lot of single family stuff. I'd be curious to kind of hear what Kevin's like kind of light bulb moment is, because I know we probably have a lot of single family people in the audience. So, and you, like you said, started in 2008. So maybe some of us that are maybe less than 5 years in the single family, multifamily game, what was that light bulb moment that you were like, actually, this asset class. Was it just like running the numbers? Was it just being around those people in self-storage? I'm sure you've probably said the story a million times. So if it's
no, it's fine.
Do skinny.
So thank you for asking. I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. Well, I'll try and give you the short version. But I was in college in University of Arizona in Tucson, and Tucson got hit really hard with the recession, and so there was just neighborhoods full of houses in foreclosure, for sale by owners just trying to get out. and it's a very much a college town. And I looked at what I was renting a house. I think I was paying $1,500 a month, split between a couple of roommates. And these houses were at the time, you might not believe me, they're like $45, $50, $60,000 for a,
Wow.
2 or 3 bedroom home. And I'm like, man, what if I just bought this, fixed it up, and just rented it to buddies? Everyone I knew needed a house. And so that's what we did. Me and a buddy, we were just kind of naive at the time. We were the only ones really buying in Tucson at the time. I mean, it was like right at the height of the recession. So we bought these houses, a few owner financed, a bank loan on one, surprisingly, borrowed from friends and family, brought on investors, hard money loans. I mean, we just tried to scrape together money, and we started fixing them up ourselves and renting them out to friends. And it just kind of, the numbers worked. I mean, when you're paying $60,000 for a house, and we're putting all sweat equity into it, so we're only into it for maybe 70, and we're renting it out for between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. It made sense. So I think we had nothing to lose at the time. We were 19 years old. We were naive. We didn't know what we didn't know. And looking back, we just got really lucky.
That's awesome.
It's kind of what it came down to. And so once we did a few, we were able to bring on a couple investors that were like, hey, we like what you're doing, and we want to give you some money to do more. So we did more, and then prices started going up as it recovered a little bit. We had major tailwinds behind us. Like I said, I think we just got super lucky. We kept going with it. We had built relationships by that time. We started our own little property management company. So we were managing in-house, bringing in other people's rentals. And essentially the company was breaking even, but we were getting free management on our own rentals. That's kind of how it worked out. So we saved about 10% there on expenses, and we just kind of kept going. And then we sold out of a lot of them between 2015 to 17. Looking back, I don't know if I would have done that now, obviously with what they're worth now, but you never know.
Sure.
So we were just kind of hungry, and we were motivated. We were at the right place at the right time. We had major tailwinds behind us that, like, even if we screwed up, like, the market was appreciating so much during that time, between 2009 and 2015, that like it made up for any errors that we were making operationally or going over on budgets, things like that. Now is obviously a very different time than that. So it's just you have to have a little better plan than I think we had. We just we got a little bit lucky.
Heck yeah. No, man, that's awesome.
The switch to the storage, though. When did that happen?
Yeah, so that was
he's gonna tell you, and you're gonna want to get into self-storage, because every time he talks about it, I'm like, man, I want to go into this.
He's gonna reel us in right there.
Yeah, no, that was last year. So I started in just beginning of the year in 2023, and the reason was COVID came. We sold out of a portion, but I kept kind of acquiring slower than I was, but more rentals. And so we had a little amount of rentals, and COVID came, and it just tenants didn't have to pay rent. I didn't like the laws and the regulations that were kind of just being like forced down onto owners and investors. And I just kind of saw the handwriting on the wall, and I was like, man, I don't want to have to pay a mortgage, but my tenant doesn't have to pay rent. And I just didn't like where it was going. It started to become kind of a full-time job because we started acquiring more again. And I was like, what's easier? And just a metal box to a customer is a lot easier than a house, right? There's no toilets, there's no tenants, there's no trash. So it's just simple. It's just a metal box, and it's lien laws as opposed to tenant laws. So if a customer doesn't pay, I lien their items, and I can have them out of the unit, auction their unit within 60 days. Trying to evict a tenant in a house in many states is very difficult. And so that was my main reason for switching.
Now, what would happen if you sold the wrong person's items in their storage?
We almost did it once. We had a storage facility painted, and the painter switched, forget the unit, but they switched 72 and 73. So it was 73 and 72. and one of them was in auction. And so I told my boots on the ground, hey, cut the lock on 72, take pictures. We're going to put it up for auction. And luckily he cut it and was like, hey, this doesn't really make sense with what was in there and what the customer. And so he brought it to my attention, and the painters had switched the numbers. So
Oh God, that's a catch.
it I don't know what we would have done. We would have figured it out. I really don't know what I'm doing half the time. I just, I just ask people and do the best I can. And if I make mistakes, I try not to do it twice.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to, what you're talking about, like, trust and building a team. And, it sounds a lot like the fireground or the firehouse. A lot of it, it's building a team and trusting your crew, trusting the guys around you. If you're going to run off the hose line, you got to make sure the guy on the pump, you can't see him, right? You can't see what he's doing, but you got to trust he's going to get you water.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, the firehouse has kind of put a lot of these principles into kind of the team that you're building and the thought process and what you're looking for. And even Matt, in the military, I'm sure you can, voice the same things as building a team and trusting other people. So I bet it helps a lot.
I think so, for sure. It is paramilitary. It's different, but it's, it follows that structure that the military has. And so, and I think too, just the job teaches you to stay calm under stressful situations, like really stressful situations, right? And so when something comes up, like you almost auction someone's unit off, instead of freaking out and like, your heart's rate, you're just kind of like, okay, like this is the problem, and now let's figure out how to fix it. So it just kind of, I don't know. I think the fire service has helped me the most with managing stress and knowing that, like, this isn't the end of the world. I'm running a metal box and stuff's going to go wrong. And when it does, I'll fix it, so that helps.
There's Homes and Hustles, and Matt is wearing the
yeah.
merchandise. He's rocking the merchandise from you. So
showing that good support. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing I always struggle with too. I mean, like you're saying, it helps us, being in the fireground or firehouse, how we deal with stress. And sometimes though, that I find that as being I have a hard time connecting with people sometimes. Like when they're when they're worried about certain things, or looking at a deal, they're stressing about certain things. And I think that's why sometimes I struggle trying to relate to them. And I'm just like, you figure it out, or we'll at the end of the day, it'll work out. And that's what I have to get better at. So that's why, if I was going to build a team, I think that's one thing I definitely have to work on, and realize that not everyone kind of has that same maybe personality as myself. So that's the one challenge.
Yeah. And I think, at least for me, what's been super important is rewarding success and like celebrating the little wins with your team, whether that's, the VA that I have that lives in the Philippines, or whether it's, the boots on the ground that I'm talking to once a week. It's like, it's very easy to get caught up in like all the problems and like, here's how we're going to fix everything. But like, you got to kind of wind it back and celebrate the little wins. And we do that with, like the VA in the Philippines. We bought her a brand new laptop, and it was just a gift, right? And it was huge for her, right? And she works so hard for us. And just something like that, a token of our appreciation, is going to go such a long way. Where like, she's going to continue to work hard for us and enjoy her job. And so I think, you can get caught up in the business aspect of things and expenses and profit and this, but it's like, if you can take it back to the human level, and really, celebrate these people for the hard work that they're doing, I think it goes a super long way. And that's kind of what we try and do.
So what about you, Kim? I mean, are you enjoying the at a distance investing, or has it been harder than you thought it was going to be?
Yes and no. Because weirdly, with the house that I have, it's in Oregon and I'm in California, so that was an odd one where it's like just the tricky distance of like, I can get there, but it's a little far. So actually having where it's out of state, it's a very clear line. Like I can't get there in 6 hours, 7 hours. So I've actually liked being able to kind of touch base with the project manager. I'm a project manager, property manager, and being able to like get those updates has been great. Sorry, I have a cough.
No, thanks for just being here. You know, you took
Power through.
medicine and everything to push through it, and you know, we have to get you on. And a lot of people popped in. You know, the Northwest Summit. You brought a whole crew with you to check in and see what you're up to. So, you know, thanks for doing it. But if you got a bomb, if you don't feel well, you can always hop off if you gotta
I
go.
actually have a work call in like 8 minutes, so
All right, cool.
I may
Yeah.
hop off. This has been lovely. Wonderful to meet you guys. I did have one question for you though, Mark.
Oh no,
Are you
what?
are you are you gonna do a partnership? Are you open to it? I'm not
Um,
asking for myself. I'm just like, is that something that interests you in general? I mean, or maybe we'll see.
honestly, like I kind of touched on it a little bit. I think no, because of how I am. I think I would make someone go crazy on how little I get stressed or how little I kind of let things bother me. So I think
Dang.
I would really rub the person the wrong way to where they think I don't care, or they think like, you know, they're doing all the work, right? They're gonna be like, oh, why, like I'm doing all this and this, and you don't worry about it, you don't care about it, maybe. And I think that's the only reason I say that I probably wouldn't, just from that standpoint, just knowing myself that I think it would cause a lot of problems with the other individual. But that's, you know, you got to know yourself, right? You got to know
Yeah.
your strengths and weaknesses.
I think with the right person, Mark, it could complement someone else very well. You know, I wouldn't say no so quickly.
But I don't get along with people. See, I mean,
That'd be perfect. You guys don't even have to talk. You can just
That's
own a
it.
piece of real estate together.
This will be a purely transactional relationship,
Yeah.
right? Purely business.
let's see the final one. Then let's see, Kim, for you, how has investing affected your pre-existing relationships? Oh, okay.
Like with my with my partners, I assume.
I I was just thinking.
Family.
I was thinking more just like your general circle, like maybe, you know, people you went to
Yeah.
school with or normally hung out with. Yeah.
I mean, the curiosity just from my friends has been very interesting. Or the like, I mean, and this isn't shocking. I think for anybody who talks about their real estate investing journeys, people are so hesitant. They're so fearful. They live in fear constantly. And so for them to hear, like, I'm sorry, you invested with 5 people, 4 people that you don't know. One of them I knew, and that was like mind blowing to some of my friends. And so they've been very curious. So from like just that circle of kind of outside of the investing world, they're constantly like, they're like waiting for it to fail in some ways. And that's okay. And yeah, I get to kind of share the excitement with them. And then certain people it's been fun to watch their curiosity and hesitance grow into like, tell me more, like asking more questions around it. So I think that's the other thing. I think we talked kind of earlier in this session around sharing your journey, because you never know who may help you get to your next goal. But I think also sharing your journey, because you don't know who that's going to inspire as well, is really key. Like I've been actually really surprised by 2 specific people that I've thought of that I had no idea that they were, actually 3 people. I had no idea that they were interested in real estate and what that looked like. And then just like not bragging about it, but just like, oh, this is a piece of my story. This is a piece of what I'm doing. And that like has inspired them to just even know that it's possible. Cause that's something that was a mind block that I had. I just didn't even know how to get started. And so just seeing like those increments, I think has been helpful for other people as well. So that part, I'll answer also from the pre-existing relationships, like with the investor, of course, with Mike. And then I now have built relationships with my investors. I'm going to go see one of them in New York actually in a month or 2. So we really have become friends as well. But
Don't get arrested with Senya. I know you guys are gonna be up to no good.
I mean, no promises, just saying. This is why we have Mike on our team. He can make a call and,
I'm from Indiana, trying to police up New York.
yeah, it's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's only, I think, strengthened the friendships and I mean, again, the investors I didn't know as well, but those friendships have absolutely strengthened. And then of course with Mike and being able to be in this partnership, in this deal with him, and seeing that side of him has been great. It's been fun. Like, honestly, it's fun. There's definitely been things, like I mentioned at one point, it's a little bit, it's a little bit slower than we had initially talked about, but that's not shocking to probably anybody who's started on this journey. Everything just takes a little bit longer. And so we all get to kind of, somebody's like, oh, what's going on? And you can sense that nervousness perhaps. Then we all can console, and that console, that's a little strong, but just speak that encouragement to each other as well, which has been great.
Nice.
All right, those are some great final words from you. But thanks
Yeah.
for doing this. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah,
We'll do it
thanks for
again, Kim.
hosting this.
And I'll see you in
Yeah,
Vegas if not.
absolutely. I will be there. I will see
For
you guys
sure.
later. Have a good one.
All right,
Good
bye,
to meet
Kim.
you, Kim.
Good to meet you.
See
Bye.
ya.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, so we got the wealth building journey who comments that he had friends, 30 plus years before investing, they kept in touch, and now not as much, it's kind of just growing apart. And yeah, I know.
I mean, Kim kind of hit it there too. It's really important to also project, hey, what are you working on? What are your passions? Like, right. She's kind of putting herself out there like that. She's investing. And, I think each of one of us is kind of taking that leap that says, hey, like, I'm kind of letting my guard down. I'm okay with sharing the wins, the losses, because it's coming from a right place of, hey, this is my journey. These are the lessons I learned. And I've seen so much positive from it. It would feel so selfish to not share that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you guys also kind of feel that way where it's like it's changed the trajectory of my life just doing 3 house hacks. Like, that's not even, it's like not that big a deal to some people, but it could be to somebody that's like, oh, all I hear is this doom and real estate is not good. And it's like all-time high. So it's, I don't know if you guys also experience that in your maybe small circles and like childhood friends or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little different for me because I started at such a young age that anyone I'm really in contact with knew I was doing this at the time. But I think I do have, like Kim said, that I have a lot of friends that are just curious and they want to know more, and they want to I don't know, if I bring in investors, like maybe I'll eventually tap the friend market to try and share opportunities with them. I haven't yet. Try to keep that separate at this point, but there's definitely people who are curious, which I think is awesome. I think it's just I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like me and Kevin, we're complete. We're both in the fire service, but we both kind of have a different view on it, and we kind of touch on it quite a bit. Like I'm really trying to get out early, trying to leave the firehouse early. Kevin still loves it like the first day he got in, probably, and
not quite.
Well, okay, see, so I'm rubbing
Maybe-
off on you there. See, so
Maybe week. Yeah.
Definitely not like the first day.
Yeah.
It has its ups and downs, but
Sure.
as everyone says, right, they're one bad day away from leaving.
Mm.
Yeah.
I could see myself.
I also want to,
I
I
know
don't know,
that.
like Matt, did you shrink that shirt? Like, it looks a lot smaller than the last time you wore it.
Dude, no, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's
been working
we've
out
eating a
more
lot
is
new.
what it is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That's why you're a little late. You did like push-ups and stuff for
Yeah,
That
before you
must
hopped
be
on.
it. It must be it. I know. No, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. You throw them in the wash. They're like, you take a
Oh,
brand new
yeah.
shirt. Do you wash it? Like, I wash it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, what that shirt's been. So, so it could be that. But
Ah,
no, I think to kind of your point, like, I'm sure you guys have friends in the firehouse that's like, if you haven't seen them in so long, like months or years, but like it's like when you catch up with one another, it's like you haven't skipped a beat. It was like just yesterday, right? Because you have that kind of that camaraderie built in the beginning of kind of like the training phases. Like when you go through the suck with people, like like there's that understanding that like, hey, like that we're at the same point in our lives. It took us to get here, and all the work and training that we had to do to get to this point. And so I think that's just kind of comes with the territory of being in jobs that y'all are in.
yeah. So what do you guys think? I think Zuber touched on it the other day. I've been hearing quite a bit about it too. I don't know. Have you guys heard of the term vibe session?
No.
So
What
it's
is
kind
what
of
is it?
it's kind of like how some people are saying, we've avoided a recession and whatnot. But a vibe session is kind of where the feeling, the people that are the feeling that people have aren't really matching the data, right? So a lot of times right now the data is saying the economy and is actually fairly good, fairly strong. Whereas if you talk to people out there, a lot of people are struggling paycheck to paycheck, so it's a different, the vibes don't match up. So somebody came up with this term kind of vibe session where, the feeling out there is not matching with what the data that's being presented. And I definitely agree with that. I see a lot of people, I see, working more overtime and picking up extra shifts and talking about how, cost of everything basically has gone up. So I definitely agree with that term.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hadn't heard that. But I mean, like the 2008 recession, right? Didn't get declared a recession, and it was the biggest one in a long time until 2012. So it's like we could very well be in the recession right now, and until you're out of it, and
Mhm.
in years down the road, it doesn't actually get looked at as a recession. So I think there's definitely truth to that. But I think for sure that we're not trending the right way currently. People are definitely struggling.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, right, if you don't own assets or you don't own, definitely you're on the wrong side of the fence, right? And it's making it a lot harder. So I think definitely that's why we are doing a lot of the struggles, putting in the work. We are sacrificing some things. And I hear it every day. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, what are you doing, man? Why aren't you doing this and this?" And it's like, I kind of tell them, I mean, like, if you had a friend that was starting a business or a new business or something, right, you'd be probably looking at it a different way. For whatever reason, people that when they do real estate, it's almost like it just seems like everyone kind of wants you to fail in a sense or whatnot. But like if you were to start a business, your friends are gonna be, oh yeah, they're gonna try and support you and they kind of understand what you're doing. But for some reason, in real estate, it just doesn't get that same support from your circle. Seems like.
Sometimes it's just that false projection of maybe their own insecurities about what they've learned about real estate or what they know about themselves. So I don't know. It's I would say every situation is certainly different, but to get to like that whole vibe session, I think the to get the finger on the pulse in terms of like talking with like our junior enlisted members, like life is not better. You know what I mean? Like in the past couple of years, like it cost of living's gone up, groceries, like healthcare and or childcare, right? A lot of people have to work to support the kids, and it's yeah, it does not feel like we are like it's matching the market, right? You see all these all-time highs, Nasdaq, SPY, etc., but no, it's a very, very significant disconnect.
What about your trip to San Diego for your family? How much like did that the costs
Yeah, that was a
surprise you?
massive cost. We got an Airbnb. My mom came down for a couple nights, so we got a 4-bed Airbnb, which wasn't cheap. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was walking distance to the beach. It was probably, I don't know, $500 a night or something, plus flights, plus food when you're down there. And just everything else that goes along with the kids, the zoo and the children's museum and the this and
Yeah.
the that. And so it definitely adds up. And it was part of the reason we chose San Diego was because we were going to come out your way. But Hawaii is expensive right now. And we're like, do we really need to do this right now? And we're like, the kids they're 4 and 2. It's like a beach is a
Yeah.
beach. We'd be going to Hawaii for us. And that you don't get to do much of your stuff when you're with your kids. So, but yeah, I mean, we chose a different vacation really because of the expense that Hawaii would be this year. We try and go every year, and we didn't go this year.
Yeah, they kind of reported that in one of the Hawaii business news and stuff. Tourism is way down, and but a lot of people are going to Japan. So a lot of people from Hawaii are
Mm.
traveling to Japan because it's so much cheaper right now. The dollar's going a lot further, so there's a lot of people traveling to those destinations. But tourism is taking a big hit, and yeah, so and they just keep making it harder and harder for things. Like even like they're trying to restrict Airbnb, so costs and hotels don't have to really fight as much for prices, and they're gonna charge whatever they want. Oh, Esther is here. She's in Seattle, Washington area, but she invests in Gary, Indiana. I believe in Texas also, but she has a question. So she says, how to get contractors and project manager to do the work on time from long distance? Do you struggle with that from the self-storage, getting people to get work done promptly and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, finding someone that you can trust, right? Which has to do with like if we check so many references, and if they're not willing to provide references, we're not going to use them. So I think once you find the contractor, you ask for references and actually call the people they give and ask those people, hey, do you know anyone else that's used them? And they'll be like, oh yeah, my friend John used them. That's who referred them to me. And then you call John. And so that's big right there. And then having somebody locally that you trust to check up and make things, like for us, it's our boots on the ground. Like that's our number one hire right when we buy a facility, is we're trying to find a trustworthy boots on the ground. So and we pay. I mean, you have to find somebody in the area that you pay that can go check on a contractor, that can go take pictures, can take videos. We ask the contractors to take pictures and videos. I'm getting videos of the new roof that's going on every single day. That was part of our agreement when I signed the contract. So you got to do the best you can. And initially, maybe it's you got to fly out there or drive out there and check it on it yourself. But eventually, you'll find people you trust. And you'll kind of be able to spot the red flags when they come, and you won't have to do that.
Great advice. I mean, for me, and like I said, maybe it comes down to kind of the not stressing about things and just kind of feeling it, things will figure it out. I mean, I definitely agree with the, getting, vetting the contractor and connecting with other investors and getting referrals and things like that. I guess for me, it's always that not that I expect things to be delayed or go a little bit past the timeline. I think I just realized that that's almost part of the business a little bit. And I mean, I guess there's late, and then there's definitely like where, okay, now we got to have a discussion. So I think that's just for me. I'm a little bit more like, I understand that these guys are probably working multiple projects at one time, and so for me, I'm always a little bit more like, as long as the work, they're verifying everything, pictures, everything's done, it's done nice, and whatnot, and it's within the budget and things like that. I think those are kind of more what I'm looking for, because I do understand sometimes the timeline is going to fall behind somewhat, and but I'm looking for the other things where the type of work and the quality of work and even just the communication, right? I mean, there's a difference if they do fall behind and I don't know about it at all, whereas they're communicating with me and letting me know, okay, this had this come up or this issue came up and we might be a little bit behind or delayed. So I think it's more that whole relationship and just that communication factor there for me.
I think you're also grounding your like expectations, right? You're expecting this project, or if it's a significant rehab or renovation, right? Like these things certainly come up, but kind of goes back to that communication and like Kevin was saying, that frequency of touch points early on, making those contacts a lot more higher volume in the beginning, seeing how things are going, and if you're getting that good vibe, or if they're ghosting you, or you're not getting they're reading receipts and they're not following up on emails, then it's like, all right, I'm not getting a good feeling, versus, hey, this came up, like, weather delays, shipping, etc. Okay, like I'm understanding because you've communicated to me why there are delays. I think that's a huge distinction, right? Versus like, I still trust you because you are open in your communication, versus, all right, like I did trust you and now you're starting to kind of ghost me a little bit. So I think there's certainly a level of communication that it should not go unnoticed in that situation.
Yeah. And sometimes if you're really struggling too, you can work in incentives into the contract, right? Like if you finish by X date, it's this price. If it takes you until this date, well, that price drops now. And sometimes that'll align your interests a little bit if you're still having trouble.
Sure.
Yeah. Great advice. But yeah, we can wrap things up pretty soon. I just wanted to test out the time, and it looks like we got a lot of views on this one, so I think it works out. Sometimes
Yeah.
having different times in there and more people can tune in. But yeah, before we go, I mean, I didn't get a chance to, I'm sure you guys all seen it, but we've been kind of doing like a smash or pass type of lives and kind of just for fun, and people have been enjoying the kind of game show kind of style. So we're gonna end this with what's trending right now, a smash or pass on the Hawk Tua girl.
I knew it, man.
Whether
I
it
knew
was funny or whether like did she deserve to get fired? I mean, like do you guys? I mean, it would have been different with Kim here, but I mean, is it a smash or was it funny?
I just found out about that whole thing a couple days ago. Then I went down a rabbit hole for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm seeing all the memes.
All the memes.
Oh man,
Yeah.
people are so creative online. I tell
People
you
made
what.
T-shirt. I mean, it's funny.
And go check out Homes and Hustle's Etsy store. I don't know if she has any left, but she jumped on it right away too.
Yeah,
She
she
had
sold some
merchandise
merch.
on
Nice.
Hawk so go check it out. I'm not, but I said
gosh.
I don't know. She might be sold out, but
Shoot.
go check it out if not.
I think it was funny. It's just a reminder though, like in this day and age, like there's someone. I mean, we know it as firemen, right? I mean, it's just constant. Like everybody's got a camera up, no matter what.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, you just got to know that whatever you say, could be put out there for millions and millions to watch. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was funny.
Hands
Most people
down,
seem,
hilarious.
well, yeah. I mean,
Hilarious.
and she was just, she drank. She was having, she drank a lot, and she was having a fun night, and but yeah. And now that you mentioned that, Kev, we just had there was a student driver that took out a fire hydrant the other at a Costco parking lot, and they're like, it was like before I was off duty, but before the engine even got dispatched, it was out
It
on
was already
social
online?
media. It was already on like
Like a
Instagram.
live-
It was already
yeah,
on
it's
like
crazy.
the Hawaii news, like like people have their own little broadcast stuff, and it was on there already, man. It had the lady I don't even know, it might have been a kid, but it was a student driver, I think, and they took out the fire hydrant in the Costco parking lot. So it was like a
Jeez.
busy day, and it was just water shooting up, and
I've had people with video cameras out like while we're doing CPR on a patient in a public place. Like, it's like, what are you
Jeez.
doing? Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. It's just,
oh yeah, it's crazy, man, out there
it's
now.
crazy. I mean, obviously she knew she was being videoed. I don't think she expected how the reach that video would have, but I don't know. Hopefully she makes more money now than she was before with her notoriety.
Right?
Yeah. Well, she even she jumped on it. Seemed like right because I saw her signing merchandise like Hawk Tour 2024
You
hats.
got to
and
take
shirts.
advantage of that golden opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's funny though. Good for her.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this. Thanks for hopping on, guys. And yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get together again. And thanks for everyone stopping by. And hopefully all the streams went out well. We're next time, Kev, we can link up your X channel and we can put that out there too. And
Yeah, I'll try and be on time next time.
oh well, you kind of told me.
Dude,
I don't even know. Are
working
you at the
man,
fire?
bro. You good?
No, you're at home,
No,
right? Today?
I'm at home, but we
Yeah,
were playing with the kiddos.
Yeah,
I lost
Oh,
track.
I'm sure if I would be late too if it was other people's stuff. But since I'm the one scheduling it, I gotta be on time.
There you go.
Dude.
Blessing and a curse. Hey, well,
Yeah.
good to meet you, Kevin.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
reach
Yeah,
out
go
anytime.
follow him on X. I don't know if you guys are following each other on X, but
Yeah, we'll have to find
We'll
each
link
other
up.
for sure.
all right,
All right.
fellas. Thanks for
Appreciate
doing
it.
this.